Hi teachers, welcome to week 5, which is the final week of our unit engaging with our community. The purpose of this video is to walk you through what the session for day 1 will look like and go through some ways that you might differentiate this lesson for your students. So week 5 is all about students writing a persuasive letter or email to a local politician or political figure. And they're going to use the information and work that they've done in the previous sessions to achieve this. So we'll go through each moment of the lesson so you have a better understanding of how it will flow and again, what you might be able to do to differentiate for the students. So let's go ahead and begin going through the slides. So on the introduction slide, you'll have the essential question that you can read with the students. How can we advocate for our community? Then you can speak to them a bit about the persuasive letter or email, do a quick introduction, and then whatever routine you have for the lesson objectives, and then spend some time if you need to explain the lesson objectives or clarify what the students will be doing. On the next slide, you'll find a review activity. It's similar to our opening do now and our activation activities. It's a review of what students have done throughout the entire unit. And what you're aiming to get at is for students to end up comparing the histories of the immigrant families with the public health data from the community health profiles. So the prompts that students will answer are here on this bottom left corner. And again, it's the task of comparing. So students are explaining how were the texts different, how were the texts similar, and also who they would recommend should read the public health resource, which means the community health profile. So again, the purpose of this activity is for students to look back, remember the immigrant stories from the Tenement Museum and the community health profiles, and discuss how those things are different or similar, and also who they think should be looking at this public health data. And then one possible support in the green box are some sentence starters for students if they get stuck, starting to express their ideas. The sentence starters will address both the task of comparison as well as students recommending who should look at the public health data. So after the review activity, you'll go through the steps with the students, just a quick preview for them of what the day will look like. So what they're going to do is use the outline that was done on week 4, day 5, which is where they listed out the issue, the reason that it was that they thought it was an important issue, and possible solutions. So they're going to use this outline to rename or start a new document. And in that document, they're going to flesh out and write the full persuasive letter or email using the ideas from their outline. You're going to instruct them to title the document Write for Rights and letter or email. And then further in the lesson, they will again write this full letter and share it with you. Remember to set the purpose here. It's in the orange box to give students an idea of how they can approach writing this letter and some of the important considerations. For example, to choose something that you feel passionate about that's very important to you so that your enthusiasm is very genuine as you write about it. And also it will help them focus as well on the use of evidence and how to pick really compelling evidence for their arguments. One quick note for the setup of the document, something that might be helpful for your students might benefit from this in terms of organizing all of their materials. So in a Google Doc, something I like to do is if I have previous activities leading up to a big culminating project, keep everything on one document so students don't have to go searching for their previous work. So as you can see here on this document, at the top, I have a link to the outline that we had just discussed. This actually just links back to the previous lesson from week 4, day 5, where they completed the outline. So if we click that link, it will open up this slide deck. And if you can imagine this being a student's assignment, and further down in the assignment, they might have this outline completed and ready to use for their current assignment. So going back to the document, again, that's just a link embedded up here. They can open that, and that should help activate their thinking to get ready for the next part of the activity, which is also in the same document. So again, simplifies things and prevents students from having to go search around for the different information that they used over the past few weeks. So going back to the slides for this session. Again, that was just a quick suggestion for you're getting the logistics of setting up their documents for this session. So on the workshop page, you'll find this model frame. Students can complete this using their own information here. This provides a structured model. Again, students can complete this, and this would be beneficial maybe for students who are, again, in those more beginning stages of English language acquisition and could benefit from more explicit structures and supports in terms of how they're structuring their sentences and phrasing. One possible way to differentiate if you have students who are a little more independent, students who don't necessarily need such a highly structured model, is to provide them just with a checklist. And so have the different components of the letter outlined here. And then students, if they're at that level of independence, can see what's expected of them and craft something that hopefully will turn out like this. But again, with a kind of an additional layer of independence. And note that in the document that I had designed as an example, again, that was the outline, but then below is the model from this slide. So I just copied and pasted from here into this document. And again, there's that frame that students can use to craft their own letters. And it's right all here in one document, if that's an easier way for students to complete this writing task. After they do the workshop, whether it be with the frame or with the checklist, you'll have the closing and connecting activity. And make sure for this session, there is a specific closing and connecting for you to do with your students. You'll find more information down here below, but it will be the connect to the project, which is here in the gray, and extend the learning, which is here in the green. So students should be doing both of those activities for their closing connecting. Connect to the project and extend the learning. And don't forget, you'll always have below your additional notes for teachers, some extra tips and suggestions, in addition to what was kind of laid out in this video of how this can be easily implemented with your students. So good luck with day 1, and we'll see you back for day 2.